Matt George of ABC 10, as well as Locked On Kings. Matt, thank you so much for joining us, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Let's see if the internet will cooperate this time, but I'm happy to be with you, Allen.
I'm gonna say this: you sound clear, you sound good so far. So let's get on into it, Matt. Let's start here. I don't know if you were listening. I know you're a busy man, but Carmichael Dave came in and crashed the show about 15 minutes ago, and he wanted to crash it because he wanted to give some clarification based on what Sam Amick actually said on the Run It Back show via FanDuel versus what he's hearing and whether or not there is some push or pull with Vivek and the word of, quote, convincing Vivek that this thing is going to take 3 to 5 years. Just give me, I know you were all over it, just give me your initial reaction to when you heard it and where this thing might end up.
So I actually missed this.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see this morning. So give me some context. Fill me in. What did Sam say?
Yeah. So essentially, Sam was on the Run It Back pod saying some version of Scott Perry is trying to convince, and I don't even know if he used the word convince Scott Perry or Vivek to do this 3 to 5 year rebuild versus, I think, some type of hybrid rebuild. And then Dave came in and said there's really no convincing that needs to be done. And again, I don't know if Sam even used the word convince, but it was more so that process has already started. And then Dave came in and said Vivek is already bought into this. And you would know better than anyone, Matt, my reaction to Dave coming in and trying to mess up our break time was a lot of Kings fans are just going to say, we will see, right? We just have to wait and see because I'll believe it when I see it type deal. So that's basically what went down.
Yeah, that's how every Sacramento Kings fan should feel, regardless of what is being said. Mm-hmm. But I can share with you what, I've heard and what I've been told has been essentially the same thing, that Scott Perry took this job with full decision-making power, full autonomy to do this the right way. I don't think any sane person in their right mind would have accepted this job without very specific language, whether in their contract or between Perry and Vivek Ranadive, that this is going to take time. This is a mess that they need to clean up. And it turns out the mess was even messier than we thought, right? We thought this team was going to be much more competitive this season than they are right now. So there was an understanding that this was going to take time, that Perry was going to need time to execute everything. And then I have been assured a couple of things. One, that Perry has full and complete decision-making power here in the front office. And number two, that Vivek isn't even fully 100% aware of everything that Scott Perry is doing, right? That the Vivek hasn't had to sign off on every little decision that Perry has made. Vivek is not in every phone call or in every room when every decision is being made. That Scott is operating going forward like he is the guy. Vivek's the owner, and owners in the NBA, in professional sports, they do end up having the final say in the sense of they have to approve at the end. But most owners just approve what their general manager comes to them and presents them and says, this is what I want to do. So from what we're being told and what I understand, that's the situation here in Sacramento. But yes, every single Sacramento Kings fan who's been through the last 10 plus years should have that I'll believe it when I see it type of attitude towards this organization.
Talking about Georgia, ABC 10 and Locked On Kings. So Kyle is working double, triple time today. So we have that 20-second clip for you, Matt, just so you can hear it. And I know people are chiming in because whenever we see Matt George is going to be on the show, we know that people are ready to hear from you, Matt. So here is Sam Amick on just a little clip about Vivek versus Scott Perry. Here it is.
The storyline and the framing, which is it's time to rebuild. So that's a tough pill to swallow. Again, something well is that Vivek Ranadive is an extremely involved owner, I think, to a negative degree with this franchise. And right now, GM Scott Perry is trying to keep him at bay and convince him that this might take 3, 4, 5 years to turn around. So morale is bad.
Okay, so he did use the word convince, and now I definitely understand why Dave came in and, again, whoever his sources are wanted it to be clear that Vivek is bought in. So there you go, Matt. It was spicier. I was running around and obviously Dave popped in and you were going to join us as well. But hearing it isolated like that, it was kind of spicy, Matt. If I'm a fan hearing that, I am thinking, here we go again. So I'm not really surprised that they sent Dave in here with a message to make sure fans don't start freaking out.
No, I see. I think both things can be true.
Mm-hmm.
I think we know Vivek has a desire, a desperation even to be competitive. I don't think the Kings have any interest in being bad for multiple years. And on ticket sales, all they've done is raise ticket prices over the years. So I don't think that the Sacramento Kings would like to be bad and go through a full-on tear it down rebuild, even if it's staring them in the face. That being said, like, it's what Scott Perry needs to do. It's what needs to be done. We went through the whole De'Aaron Fox saga, and the result of the De'Aaron Fox trade was because of this far-fetched, misguided desire to still be competitive and hope to sneak into the playoffs via the play-in. And this is where it got you, right? You had approach with trading your star and it blew up in your face.
Yeah.
It turned into an absolute disaster. They can't do that again. Perry knows that. They need to be patient.
Talking to Matt George of ABC 10. And Matt, the other thing that I wanted to talk about just as far as what's happening on the court, you said something yesterday regarding Keegan Murray. So Keegan started out really hot, talking to Matt George, ABC 10, Locked On Kings. Keegan started out really hot. We know he's getting kind of thrown around and having to defend everyone, right? That Rockets game was insane, but he is also missing open shots. I had a clip of DeMar DeRozan kind of dribbling in his office and passing up on Keegan, and people are saying, well, Keegan's shooting 28% from three. Where do you have that line where it turns into, hey, Keegan probably needs more help? I know Precious Achiuwa has been really good, but at the same time, if you're going to be a two-way guy, nights like last night, I know Pascal Siakam is a dog, but nights like last night, you cannot put up 8 points. It just can't happen.
Yeah. All right. So I can already hear the internet.
Well, we'll get you on the phone. We made it longer this time.
Yeah, he texted me his internet was dropping.
Yeah. Talking to Matt George of ABC 10. And Matt, yeah, we were discussing Keegan Murray and the balance between, hey, we know you probably need more help from other players that you just don't have on the roster, but also if you're going to be a dude, you have to be a dude at all times. And the Rockets game, I'll give you a pass, but I can't give you a pass last night. 8 points, and I know Pascal's a dog, but it's a Pacers team missing a bunch of players. Tyrese ain't even playing. Obi's not playing. No Aaron Nesmith. I need more from you, Keegan. So where do you fall on that scale?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Look, I'm the biggest Keegan supporter there is, and I do think there is a natural impact on if you're playing a lot of defense and taking on a lot of responsibility on the defensive end like Keegan does. It sure does have some sort of impact on you offensively. But if Keegan wants to, I mean, this is Keegan's shot to prove that he can be more than just a high-level starting caliber two-way player. Like, this is your opportunity to be the dude. And he shot 11 attempts the last 3 games. I need that number to come up. Granted, he's been playing with when Zach LaVine dropped 42 and stuff like that, and there's a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. But, one, he needs to be shooting 15 times or more a game, in my opinion. And the number 2 is he needs to be knocking down the majority of the attempts that he's shooting, especially from beyond three-point range, right? It's time for you not just to show that you can be more aggressive, get more creative, and create more shots for yourself, which he's doing. Like, one of the things that stands out to me, Allen, is if you're watching as best you can through a television, Keegan's eyes, as soon as he catches the ball, he's looking at the rim. Like, he's looking to score, which is good. That he's showing that instinct that he didn't really have through the first 3 years of his career. So that part's good, but it doesn't matter if you're looking to score if you're not scoring. right? So he needs to be putting the ball in the basket. He needs to be knocking down these shots a lot more consistently than he is on the season. Granted, 8-game sample size, not a ton, but on the season he's shooting 44% from the field. That number is low, and he's shooting 27% from three-point range. I know he's doing less like just catch and shoot, standing on the perimeter, three-point shooting and trying to shoot more off the dribble, but he's got to knock down shots, right? Or he's just not the guy that the Kings just paid $25 million or gave a $25 million per year extension to. So yeah, Keegan's got to start hitting some shots. I think he knows it. Everybody knows it. The good news is he's still got a lot of time this season to prove that he can be that, and I think he's only going to get more opportunity as the Kings try and move on from some of the other guys on this roster that take a lot of shots and need a lot of shots too. But they got to start going in at some point. Like, we're not talking about Keegan. We can't talk about him the same way we're talking about Nick and Maxime of, well, just put him up and see what happens. Now no, you got to put him up and you got to hit him.
Talking to Matt George, ABC 10, Locked on Kings. And the only thing I'm holding out on, Matt, is that these are only 8 games into the season. Maybe he's getting his sea legs under him. They threw him right on out there. And, that first game, I think he was in the low or high 20s, low 30s. And right after that, he's playing 38, 40 minutes. So maybe it's just taking him some time to get that all figured out. I'm looking at some of the leaders of minutes played in the league, and Luka's at 37, Austin Reeves is at 36, Cade Cunningham at 36, Amin Thompson 36, Şengün is at 35, nearly 36. So it is the upper echelon of players, and if you want to be considered that, you have to do that. So I'm holding out some hope, Matt, just because he isn't even 10 games into the season yet. But yeah, pretty soon here, you want to be a two-way guy. I mean, Matt, I joked. I said last night it was kind of Draymond Greenish, right? 11 rebounds, defense, and hit a three. We don't need you to be Draymond Green. We need you to hit shots. So we got to see that. As we continue on here, Matt, somebody we didn't see at all in the second half is Malik Monk. Now, Malik isn't 30 yet. He's 27, 28 years old. Doesn't really fit into any timeline with the Kings, and he's getting paid $18 a year, which is not a ton of money, but it's also not nothing. What do you make of the Malik Monk situation, Matt? Is he just collateral damage at this point? And you talk about the highlighting certain players to get their value up. Doesn't seem like the Kings really care about that with Malik. Kind of a sad ending whenever it happens, because we know he wanted to be out here. But what do you make of the current situation with Malik Monk?
Well, first off, I don't subscribe to the idea that the Kings are needing to play a lot of these guys to increase their trade value by any means. Like, the league knows what these guys are. Mm-hmm. That might be important to showcase another side of Keegan, but Keegan is going to be the number one guy that teams are calling about because it's always been that way. And the Kings are going to probably continue to say no to whatever offers they get for Keegan. But in terms of Malik and Levine and DeRozan and even Sabonis, like, the league and general managers know exactly who those players are. So playing them extra minutes to quote unquote showcase them, like, nobody learned anything about Zach LaVine's 42-point game against the Miami Heat the other night. Like, it just doesn't matter. I don't subscribe to that line of thinking, although I completely understand, like, that's kind of been the selling point for a lot of people to, like, well, these guys got to play you got to showcase their value a little bit. No, general managers know who these guys are. Mm-hmm. In the case of Malik, I think, one, Malik's going through a little bit of a cold spell right now because he was playing really, really well not too long ago. And two is, as Doug increases the minutes for Nick Clifford and also trying to get Keon Ellis a little more burn, somebody's got to lose minutes somewhere. Now, I personally don't think that DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine should be playing more than 32 maximum minutes a night. I think Russell Westbrook playing 40 last night. Granted, Russ was cooking and he had a triple-double, and Russ is one of those guys that I think you can see on the floor, not just with how he plays, but Russ is a guy that emphasizes getting the rookies involved. You can tell how great he's been for Maxime Reynaud. He does look to try and give Nick Clifford the ball, too, when he's out there with Nick. So Russ playing 40 minutes last night, I know that's not something that's common, but you don't need these veterans playing that heavy of minutes going forward. I would much rather see those minutes in the low 30s so that you can have Malik out there for his around 20 minutes or so, and then make sure Nick is getting some burn and Keon is getting some burn. But I understand Doug's got a lot of mouths to feed on this roster, which is one of the reasons why Scott Perry needs to get to this trade deadline and get some of those mouths out of there, so you can have a more established, clean, consistent rotation with consistent playing time for the rest of the season, regardless of the results. So for Malik, he is tremendously valuable. I think people should be looking at Malik the same way they're looking at DeMar DeRozan. Teams, if you need a scoring punch off of the bench, Malik and DeRozan can be your guy. Those are the two guys that I think have the most realistic trade value that the Kings will want to move on from this trade deadline. So I would be surprised if Malik is still here. But I didn't read too far into last night not playing too much. I think it was just a playing time circumstance, plus he's in a little bit of a funk right now.
Talking to Matt George, ABC 10 Locked On Kings. Matt, I think it was a couple weeks ago you put out a very special episode of Locked On Kings where you were essentially giving your state of the union or state of the state as it comes to the Kings and what you've been hearing. And I'm curious, as we are about to hit our Kuminga quota at some point in this show, I'm curious what your thoughts are and what you've been hearing as far as the approach that the Kings will take to this rebuild. Is this a situation where you think it's going to be a bunch of draft picks, right? Or just, the 3 to 5 year timeline where, hey, we're just going to stink and we're going to get a draft pick. Do you think they will look at the second draft market? That's a Jonathan Kuminga. We saw him last night. I call him the Eastern Conference Jonathan Kuminga, Benedict Mathurin. Do you think it'll be a hybrid of that? What have you been hearing as far as their approach to this rebuild? Will it be more draft focused, or will they take some, because the Pacers kind of model, that was technically a second draft with Tyrese Halliburton. What are you hearing, or where do you think they will go in that direction?
Yeah, I don't think Scott Perry would, and I haven't been told explicitly from anybody, set or put that sort of set path in front of himself, right? I think, to me, the Kings we're in this evaluation phase, which I just, like Kings fans, roll our eyes at this point, because we all know what this team is. The evaluation's been done. We know what's working, what's not, and the vast majority of this roster is not working. So I think the general belief or general understanding from this organization is that the most likely path to any sort of improvement, and certainly the most likely path to getting a star and a new foundational piece to build around, is going to be through the draft. I don't think you're going to see Perry do anything that costs him any of the Sacramento Kings draft capital going forward. That being said, just like with the John Morant situation or whatever's happening, I think the Kings will always kind of send a call out or poke their head into any kind of conversation that potentially does involve a young star that's available. But like we saw in the Kuminga negotiations going all the way back to the summertime, the Kings are not going to do anything extreme and rush anything that doesn't make sense. And in the case of Kuminga, it was, Kuminga's a good young player that we would love to have and the Kings could certainly use, and he would give us a building block going forward. But we're not a Jonathan Kuminga away from being a championship team or a playoff team right now. So, no, we're not going to give you more than what the initial offer was. And now that the Kings have gone through this season and it's played out the way that it has, it's further proof that, we have a long way to go. So a unprotected first-round draft pick from the Sacramento Kings for any year is extremely valuable, because if there's anything that the Kings are consistent with in the NBA, it's consistently a lottery team.
Yeah.
So I don't think I would be shocked at this point if the Kings included draft capital in any sort of deal. I don't think they have any interest in attaching draft capital to a Sabonis or Levine contract in order to get off of it. It wouldn't make any sense anyways, because the Kings are not exactly a free agency destination to put themselves in a financial position to go and make a big swing at a big name free agent. So I think they know that what they've failed to do so many times in the past, they got to get this right through the draft. They got to hit their draft picks. So to me, draft picks are the hottest commodity to this organization right now.
Matt George, thank you so much for joining us, man. You know, I don't. We talk about a hybrid rebuild. I don't mind our hybrid interviews, right? Half video, half phone. Little bit of every platform going on here. We lasted longer on video than last time, so we appreciate you, Matt. We know you're running around. You got high school football going on and a bunch of different stuff. Obviously, the Kings. So really appreciate it, man. Happy holidays. We'll be talking. I owe you a couple text messages, and you owe me a date on the golf course. So let's make it happen soon, man.
Dude, I got to play golf. I haven't played golf in so long. I definitely need to get back out there. And next time, just send me an email with the questions. I'll just type the answers, and you can just read them on the air. We'll just do that.
I'm sure there's an AI that it could come off in your voice as well. So maybe
that's horrifying.
I'm just it very well might be. Matt George, you can catch him on ABC 10 as well as Locked On Kings. Matt, we appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate you, brother.